Welcome to this new video in this special Christmas series. Today we are going to tackle a snowman. It's a very classical, classic Christmas motif, and I'm just gonna sketch him out here in a pencil. Roughly, a quick sketch here with just the most essential features. I'm gonna give him a Christmas hat and a pretty big scarf. So it's cold outside and we want our snowman to stay warm and safe. So a nice big scarf for him. Here you go, and you can just erase as you go. I think I'm gonna make that a little bit bigger there. Of course, he needs a nose. Oh, I have a cat on my lap now. Sorry about that. Here a hat and that little thing at the end of the hat. Some snow. And I don't think we need much more in this sketch. I'm just gonna erase some of the lines. Remember, when you are painting on top of your pencil sketch, you won't be able to remove it. So you want to remove the lines that you don't want to be super visible. After all, we are painting in watercolors and they are transparent. So you want to keep that in mind when you sketch. Here you go. I have my snowman here and I'm quite satisfied with him. So we're just gonna move forward with this guy. And I'm painting in this Mossery Sketchbook. I love it. It's really holding a lot of water. I'm gonna test it today with some extra water because we're going to do a bit of negative painting. I'm gonna paint on the outside of my snowman. After all, our snowman is white, and as you know, it's not easy to paint white in watercolor. So I'm going to paint the area around him instead of the snowman itself. I am going to paint on him as well, but not so much. I'm just gonna put down some water here, and then I'm gonna do my sky in a wet on wet technique. And I'm using a Prussian Blue here for the beautiful sky behind him. And when you're doing wet on wet, you want to make sure you work your lines. The outside of your water, the inside of the water pool is just for the water to take control over, but you want to make sure you are keeping your lines where you want them, so, or your edges, so they kind of they don't get too messy around the subject you are painting. So you can see I'm just working the edges here towards the hat and towards the snowman and also towards the ground. And try if you can just not mess too much with the paint, because we don't want to overdo it. Especially if you're using more than one color, it's great to just let it flow around naturally and do its thing. And I'm putting down quite a bit of pigment here, and the reason I'm doing that is because I actually want to make a frost effect with some salt flakes. So I want this to be a very cold day for my friend here, Frosty the Snowman. And we can do that by using salt. Remember, when you are using salt in your painting, you don't want to use too much. I'm just going to put a little bit here on my hand and sprinkle it very lightly on the areas that are not completely wet and not dry. So you want them to have a shining surface. And you can see I have a kind of a pool of water in the left side of the painting. You want to make sure you remove that, and I'm going to lift it with my brush here. Just a thirsty brush, and you can lift it up. or use a kitchen towel or something like that if you are more comfortable doing that. But if it's too wet when you apply your salt, you won't get any effect. Here you go. I actually have a class completely on using salt in your watercolors if you want to check that out. I'm just going to put a link for it below the video. Can you hear my cat? She is very happy at the moment, but also a little bit annoying. So I do apologize if you can hear a purring noise. Here you go. Just one one piece of salt at a time, because every small salt will create an effect, so you don't want to overdo it. Just gonna take that water droplet off my Frosty here, and now I'm just gonna put some water down here, just for the sky to be able to flow a little bit into the ground, so we can get a snow effect. Here you go. Just gonna remove that. That's totally fine. We are going to paint on Frosty a little bit later. And now we are going to let it, I'm speeding this up quite a bit so you can see how the salt affects the painting. Now it's completely dry, and make sure it is completely dry before you go in again. Now I'm gonna paint my scarf here. And here I'm using a Paynes Grey. And I am trying to paint this so it has a little bit of texture. So leave some white space in the scarf so you have the layers. It's just curled around his neck. And can you say that it has a neck, a snowman? Yeah, I think that's totally fine. It's around his neck. And just a couple of them here. And I'm gonna give it a little bit of detail later. So this is just the first coat, the first layer. And I am going to paint the hat as well. And put a little bit, this is a Quinacrodone Rose. And I just put a little bit of the rose in the scarf as well, just for the fun of it. You can see I'm leaving white space here as well. Just a little bit, and that's because hats, obviously, they have wrinkles as well. It's fabric, and we can't completely imitate fabric in a quick painting like this. At least I can't. Some people might, but it's totally fine to just leave some white space, and you are good to go. I'm just putting down a little bit of more saturated color here. And I'm actually going to use a little bit of a Sienna as well, Quinacrodone Sienna. And I'm going to do that because, here you go, because I want it to be the color of my nose. And if you introduce a color in one place, you want to use it in another area as well to tie the painting together. So the nose is Sienna, and that's why I put a little bit of that color in the hat as well. And something went wrong in the filming process. I do apologize. So I'm just going to explain what I did here between these two clips. I painted the snowman with water and just dipped in a little bit of the blue and a little bit of the Paynes Grey as well, so it could flow into the snowman and create a beautiful, very light pattern. And just adding a lot of water will help you achieve this. And don't be scared if the painting is or the paint is running into the body from the hat and from the scarf. That's totally fine as well. And I actually really love how this is working out. I did the ground as well in the same colors, and now it's so very dry. And I love the look of this guy. I really sincerely apologize for not painting the snowman itself. I am going to do another video in this series on snow, so you can see that again. But for now I'm just removing the salt here, and I love the effect here. It's so frosty and cold. And now we can go in and create some small details. I'm going to paint a little bit here on the white, and you can see how the rose is pushing itself into the water. Even if it was dry, it gets re-evacuated. It's getting active again, so that's totally fine. And I'm just putting a little bit of Paynes Grey as well, just for the texture, and I'm keeping it super light, watery, and you can always darken it if you want to do that. And in that small demonstration, that's exactly the same thing I did with the snowman. Now I'm gonna put some texture here on my scarf, and I have a brush with a pretty nice thin tip, just putting down some lines. This could be stripes or something like that, or just texture. I like the combination of the softness of the first wash and the texture of the second wash. It's really cool. I wouldn't even call this a wash. It's more like just a layer, wet on dry layer. Try to see if you can curl them a little bit so they get rounded and you get some more shape to your scarf. And now it's time for the facial expression. So thankfully our snowman is quite easy. It's just 2 dots here for eyes. And let's see if I can do a mouth as well. I'm doing these in the Paynes Grey. See, so just dots, and make them on another paper first if you're unsure where to put your dots here. Just one on the other side of the nose there. Oh, he's cute. He just comes alive when you are doing the final details. Just gonna put a few dots here and there for a little bit of texture in the snow. And this is the time where you really need to think about stopping, because if you are satisfied, you want to stop when you are on the top. So I love how he is working out. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel here to make sure you get other videos as well, and check out my watercolor classes as well. I'm putting a link for it below. And I hope you enjoyed it. I'm just gonna put a little bit more color here to the Christmas hat, and he is all set to celebrate Christmas and December. I love him. He is so cute. I have to paint more Christmas snowman because I just love it, and I hope you will too. And share it on Instagram or my Facebook group. I'm gonna put a link for that as well. And you can use the hashtag Camilla Damsbo Art Inspired if you are sharing on Instagram. So I will see you in the next video, and have a great day. I will see you later.